Can you take the championship from DNZ? This year, you can play our football pick'em on CBS Sports and compete against us in an option every week. Check the link in our Instagram bio, Fade Route Podcast, for all the details and to sign up. Then tune into the Fade Route every week until the Super Bowl for updates and standings. Bring it on.
Coming at you from the Hey Yo Studios, it's the Fade Route with D and Z. Here are your hosts, D and Z.
Coming at you live from the Ayo Studio.
Ayo.
It's the Fade Route with D and Z. I am D. And we got a great special Saturday morning edition for you today. The Angels add to the waiver pool. The Yankees bring up Dominguez. And the Arizona Cardinals don't understand the game of football.
Or do they?
We'll begin today's show. Kicking off headlines, we have Joe Burrow returning to practice a little over a week before the first game and about a month since his last practice. Burrow hurt his calf. He practiced a month ago, and the Bengals wisely shut him down. Z, how much of Burrow sitting out was contract related?
Well, first and foremost, good morning and happy season 4 premiere.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So, this is a twofold, for me, at least how I see it, it's a twofold reasoning as to why Joe Burrow would sit out and why the Bengals would insist that Joe Burrow sit out. Your depth chart consists of Joe Burrow and Jake Browning. That is it. That's the list. So if you have any aspirations to get to the Super Bowl to unseat the Chiefs, which the Bengals are realistically one of the small handful of teams that can actually do that because they've done it before. You have to treat any Joe Burrow injury with kid gloves. You already lost a season of his because he wrecked his knee. So with anything, you got a hangnail, have a seat. Oh, you got the sun's too bright, sit down. We'll put a visor on your helmet. Just, you're hungry, we'll give you we'll make you some eggs. Joe Burrow is the engine of this car. Is it motivated by contract? He has at least 262.5 million reasons why he needs to sit, right? That's Justin Herbert's number. We can argue that Joe Burrow's better than Justin Herbert. I can make that argument pretty well, pretty convincingly. He is going to be at least 350, I would say, when contract talks come. So the Bengals and Zach Taylor want to protect their investment. Joe Burrow wants to make sure he cashes in. And as a collective, these guys want to make sure that they're there at the end so they can take on the Chiefs healthy and whole. So while it may not be completely motivated by contracts, I'm sure that in the back of their mind, the places you don't talk about at parties, as Jack Nicholson once famously said, the deep, dark secret that they're not saying is that, we're absolutely scared that he's going to get hurt. So we're going to wrap him in bubble wrap. We're going to make sure that we keep our guy. And then Joe Burrow is like, I'm going to make sure I get my money. So it's performance-wise, but it's also contract-wise. How can it not be?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, listen, I've hurt my calf before. It does take a long time to heal. And even when it's healed, you're still not so confident, like pushing off of it and playing on it. I'm going to say I don't think this is contract related, but if you're Joe Burrow's agent, right, how are you really going to let him play this season without a new deal, right? I mean, are you not doing your job? I mean, this is football. I mean, your career and your life can change in a moment. We saw that happen with Dak. We see that happen all the time. So, I mean, we, like you said, the bar is 262 because Justin Herbert signed his 5-year contract extension a few months earlier. But if you're Burrow's agent, like, what are you looking for? I think you said 350. Is that really what you want?
I would say 350 is the baseline.
350 is where we're starting. That 350 is where we're starting, Z. Whoa. Oh, man. He needs to get you in the room right now. You need to be his agent right now. 350. Okay, so where are we doing? 350 5 years, 350 7 years. What do we got? What do you think?
I would do 350 6 years with a player option for 7.
Okay, so and
or a mutual option. You know, I'll be gracious. A mutual option for 7.
Mutual, and you've already told this to the Bengals. What are you feeling? Like, is this is this something we'll talk about after the season's over? What do you think?
I'm giving them a deadline. I'm saying that we have until, we'll say September 6th. You have until September 6th.
Okay.
The day before the season starts.
Right before the season starts. We want a contract extension. We want 350. We'll give you the player option, and let's go. Or else
we're just going to table discussions until the off season.
Until the off season.
And I'm going to raise this number.
And you're going to raise the number, especially because, and that seems what's happened here, right? It seems like that's exactly what's playing out is like, hey, this is my number. This is the years. This is what we want. And if you don't give it to us, in due time, we're tabling this. And he's going to go show you. We seem to be in the era of go out there and show it. Go out there and prove it. And this is so relevant recently with Aaron Judge. Guy bet on himself, crushed it. And if you're Joe Burrow, right? Burrow, you've won the national title.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl in only, I think, your second full year of actually starting, because I believe he got hurt and then he came back. You've gone into Kansas City and you've beat Pat Mahomes, who we think, right, is arguably the best quarterback in the league. You didn't beat him in Cincinnati. You went into his place in the AFC title game.
Mm-hmm. The whole Burrow head.
Burrow head is what they call that place. I mean, I get nervous with quarterbacks, just because of the rough, nature of the position, and he's already been hurt before. I don't know if I think it's bold to go that high, and I think he's worth it, 100%, no doubt. He's definitely worth it. He should hire you as his agent tomorrow.
Here's the problem, though. Like, the one thing is that we table this discussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes out and wins a Super Bowl.
Now
that
what?
number just went up.
Now what?
He wins an MVP.
Just went up. Well, I'm actually pretty high on him to win the MVP this year. I'm gonna put a nice little FanDuel bet down on that guy winning the MVP. I think because he's so motivated, right? He's got to be. He's not. I think he's not only motivated by the new contract, but I think he's an Ohio kid, right? He's playing with his friends, Jamar Chase. I mean, this is his college buddy there, and not only that, but I think he wants to beat Pat Mahomes. I think he's motivated by getting there again, and he's not even looking at Josh Allen. He's looking at, I know what we've got to do. I know how to beat this guy, and I want him again. I want him. It's not like, we're going to have to go through the Chiefs. It's like, no, I want to go through the Chiefs. But you know what? I want them to have to come here this time. I don't want to go there. And that's the kind of attitude you want from your starting quarterback. I mean, for me, I'm tempering expectations and probably shortchanging Joe. And I'm going, 7 years, 300, 5 years, 280, 5 years, 300. Like, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Just because of the nature of the Bengals, like they just seem so cheap.
They're notoriously cheap. Yeah.
They're notoriously cheap. And my whole thing is like, I think Joe wants to stay there. But if Joe is open to leaving, gosh, I mean, to me, I know you might think it's weird.
You just opened the door there. Like that's.
I'm looking at Denver. I'm looking at Denver. They've got Sean Payton. They've got the young running back. They have young receivers.
Not Arizona.
They have a really good defense. No, God, no. So that's where I'm looking. I'm like, okay, well, because what are they going to do? They're going to franchise me? Okay. Which is not a bad thing. Now, how long are you going to do that for?
Well, look how they did with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is the benchmark for the franchising.
Yeah.
And then Kirk Cousins made his money. But that's very interesting, what you were saying about the potential of Joe Burrow. Think about the public relations nightmare. Because your organization is cheap.
They don't care. They don't care.
Ohio native, especially if they win the Super Bowl.
They don't care. Oh, well, I think if they win the Super Bowl and if he gets the MVP, I think that changes everything. I think those are the only two things that are going to change the narrative on Joe Burrow. Because come on, Z, what more would this guy have to do? How come you haven't extended him?
So what
how does Justin Herbert get an extension before him? How does Josh Allen got his extension and Joe Burrow didn't? Come on. What would if he had to have done? Won the Super Bowl, which he really almost did. If he has a tenth of a second more in the pocket, Jamar Chase breaks free down the sideline. All he had to do is get it out there, and it's a touchdown, and the game is over.
Pretty much, they were right. They were right there.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals are right there. They're knocking on the door,
and they have a good defense. They have a good team. They really do have a good team. It's not just him, and they're studded on offense. They've got a good defensive coordinator. They understand how to beat Pat Mahomes, or at least control him, which is huge. No one else has figured it. Well, I think maybe Dennis Allen's the other coach that figured that out. But for the most part, nobody else has really figured that out. I mean, man.
Need some last-minute fantasy football advice? Then the boys at the Fade Route have you covered. Tune in every NFL Sunday to Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 with DNZ. D and I give you our top 1, 2, 3 fantasy starts, or green light, and fantasy sits, or red light. That's Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 every NFL Sunday during the season. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get the Fade Route. That's Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 with DNZ every NFL Sunday during the season.
Speaking of figuring it out, shout out to Coach Westhoff. Love you, Coach. We'd love to talk to you again soon, since we referenced Denver at one point. Don't look now. The Niners are at it again. They decided last week to part ways with former first-round pick, lately a controversial first-round pick in Trey Lance, sending him to the Dallas Cowboys for a fourth-round pick. So just so everybody's clear, just so we're keeping track, the Niners traded the number 12 overall pick in the 2021 draft, a first and the third in the 2022 draft, and a first in the 2023 draft, so they could take Trey Lance and trade him for a fourth-round pick. They're now it's Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold. That's your quarterback room.
Shout out to Sam. Love you, Sam.
Congratulations, Sam. So, is it put up or shut up time for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch? Should they consider their seats warm?
Fired. Just fired. I would have fired him yesterday. You mortgaged the whole draft for this kid, and you're basically telling me that he's only worth a fourth-round pick? Fuck off, John Lynch. Fuck off. You're gone. And if Kyle Shanahan doesn't win the Super Bowl, he's gone too. What the hell are you guys doing? Like, what are you doing? And you're going to start the kid you took with the last pick? What did we do this for? If I'm the owner of the 49ers, I sat in a room with you where you traded up and drafted this man, and everybody was hugging, kissing, jumping on the phone. We did it. We got our guy. Holy shit, this is great. And do you trade him for a 4th-round pick? And we're going to start the guy we took with the last pick? That's the plan? That's what we think is going to work? What did we spend all that time in this room for? What did we have all these coaches 12-hour days getting ready for the draft? We're not doing it next year. We're not doing it. We're not going to be in this office for 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, using the cowboy and watching all these guys run back and forth on film. If you're going to tell me that the last player in the draft is going to lead this team to the Super Bowl, we missed that badly. Everybody else in this league missed that badly. We all don't know what the fuck we're doing. I'm sorry. I'm heated. I'm angry. And I'm going to sit and watch every game with my hand over my mouth and just waiting to see the outcome. How long until McCaffrey goes down with an injury? How long until Brock Purdy gets hurt because you can't protect him? How long before Deebo Samuel gets upset because he's not getting the ball enough or he's getting the ball in the backfield?
What about the Nick Bosa situation?
Nick Bosa situation. How about this guy? We all forget that Kyle Shanahan ended RG3's career. Ended it. He was going to be the next big thing, and they made him play on a bad knee, and he's gone. I don't trust this guy's decision-making at all. Come on, Z, you're going to tell me that if John Lynch came into your office, you're the owner of the 49ers, John Lynch comes into your office week 4 and goes, hey, listen, we need some help on the offensive line, and I'd like to make a trade with this team for him. Can we pull the trigger on that? Fuck no! Get out! You don't know what you're talking about. How could he sit and talk with anybody with confidence? How can anybody look this man in the eye and say he knows anything about football? Why? Because he drafted Fred Warner? Hello, you could have had Micah Parsons at 12 if you didn't trade. Could you imagine that defense? Nick Bosa doesn't want to report? Fine, we don't need him. We're going to plug every A and B cap. No team's going to run on us. So let me see if I can interest you in these guys. They traded up for Lance, right?
Oh, here we go. Here it is.
Let's say if they didn't, let's say they still made the trade, but let's say they really did want Zach Wilson. So we traded up hoping the Jets would miss and we would get Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson got drafted. Fuck. We're not going to take Trey Lance. Can I interest you in Jamar Chase?
Yes.
Can I interest you in Jalen Waddle?
Yes.
Can I interest you in Penei Sewell? Oh my gosh, could you imagine that? Could I interest you in Patrick Surtain II, ball hawking on that defense?
Yes.
Okay, now let's even go back a little further. Let's say they just kept the number 12 pick. Could I interest you in Micah Parsons, a future Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Could I interest you in Elijah Vera-Tucker, who's been hurt, but he's a solid lineman?
Well, the Niners need not offensive line, always.
How about this? Maybe we still do want a quarterback. How about we just take Mac Jones on a flyer at 12? Is that so bad? Or maybe you trade back and still get Mac Jones and maybe get some more picks. Could I interest you in Kadarius Toney? Yes, he's hurt. I know you don't like the Giants, but in their system with what they do with backs and receivers, it works. How about Alex Leatherwood? Travis, and the fucking list keeps going on and on.
Well, let's not get crazy out the level.
It goes on and on, Z. You didn't need to trade up for this guy, and then you let him go for a 4. You couldn't even trick other teams into giving you more for him. A D2 player who barely played college football. And you're gonna tout yourself out there and pump out your chest and, oh yeah, we did what was best for the team. No, you didn't. You ruined him. I actually feel bad for him. Because he probably is really a 4th-round pick. But everybody hyped him up to the point where he got taken in the 1st round, and it might have ruined his career. It really might have. Because he's going to a place where they're not going to utilize his talent the way that the 49ers would. They're not. And it's not fair. And I feel bad for him because like Sam Darnold and like all these like Mark Sanchez and like Zach Wilson, their careers are over. They're over. Ugh. Aggravation, frustration. Ugh.
From this trade alone, the Dolphins turned those picks into Jalen Waddle, Bradley Chubb, and Tyreek Hill. Can I interest you in that? It's a bad look. Like, I 100% agree with you.
And nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it.
Now, with this,
before you get into your whole spiel, Z, come on. You're telling me you and I couldn't make a bad move like that? You're telling me that you gave me the keys to the car, I couldn't jack up a draft that bad?
But here's the thing, though. They have been to the title game in 3 of their last 4 years. They've been to the Super Bowl. They are victims of success.
Did they win? They win?
They didn't win. They did not win. But that's the problem. This team is a victim of its own success. They fooled themselves into thinking that they're in a good spot. And they are in a good spot. Now the problem is, though, Brock Purdy needs to be perfect. This team needs to be a Super Bowl champion.
See, like, you sound like everybody else, man. You sound like, because come on, what good, look, okay, let's look across the street. Let's look on the other side of the country. Joe Douglas. Oh, yeah, you got Sauce Gardner. Awesome. Oh, great, you got Garrett Wilson. Great. What good is it if you don't have someone to drive the fucking car? Because you missed on Zach Wilson so bad that they had to go out and get 2,000-year-old Aaron Rodgers to run this damn offense and gave them into all the list of demands and all the players he wanted. Now, what if that fails? Another one.
Then Joe Douglas is going to get out on his ass too.
Another one. No, but we keep defending the narrative saying, well, you know what? He did miss on Zach Wilson, but man, he drafted the offensive rookie and defensive rookie of the year. He did really good there. Oh, man, and he got Mobley playing linebacker. And, oh, my gosh, like, he's got Elijah Vera Tucker. This team is going, oh, he made all the moves to get Aaron Rodgers here. Like, they're overlooking the black eye. Everybody is. Everybody is. And I don't know why. I can't figure out why everybody's getting a pass on this. Can't figure out. But we dogged the Rams. We dogged the Rams for the trades they made. They went and won the Super Bowl. How's that working out for them?
It's a different situation. It's completely different.
Because they won?
The Rams, one, because they won, and two, because the Rams completely mortgaged their future. The Niners still have draft picks, in case I miss anything.
Oh, okay.
The Niners still have draft picks. The Rams, like, you hear about Matthew Stafford, he's not able to get on the same page with his young receivers because Cooper Kupp is hurt again. Like, that was a Faustian bargain. They made a deal with the devil to get that Super Bowl. The Niners aren't doing that. The Niners had Jimmy Garoppolo, as flawed and as injury-prone as he was, and is. He's not dead, so now he's in Vegas. Same difference. You missed on Trey Lance. It's an admission that they missed on Trey Lance. That's fair. That's fine. You have Brock Purdy, who, was undefeated until the NFC title game. He'll come down to earth. That is reality, right? He's not going to be Mr. Perfect. He can't be. Like, that's just impossible. And then you have Sam Darnold. Because they won, and because they got to the Super Bowl, because they got to the title game, they're given more rope. You know this. How is it that Bill Belichick has gotten the rope that he's gotten? Because of what happened in the early 2000s, because of the Patriot way. The Patriots are horrible. But because of what he built in the past, you cut him some slack. You cut him a pass. That's the benefit of legacy. Andy Reid can lose for the next 5 seasons. He delivered a Super Bowl. He delivered 2. You cut him some slack. You cut him a pass. Winning fixes the stink, right? Winning is the best deodorant. They need to fix the quarterback problem, because now it's a problem. But if they are not in the Super Bowl, if they are not Super Bowl champions this year, Lynch is out. Lynch is definitely out. Shanahan is going to get some rope. because of what he was able to do with the wins and losses. His record, as flawed as we know the system is with the numerous injuries to quarterbacks, to the confusion of Deebo Samuel, right? Is he a wide receiver? Is he a running back? What is he? The record's there, so Shanahan's going to get more rope. The stink is mostly going to be on Lynch, and rightfully so. Right? Lynch, that's his job. But let's look at it from the Cowboys' perspective, right? Let's take a look at that. You need two teams to make a trade. You bring in Trey Lance. He's only 23, right? We can't write off his career just yet. We wrote off Geno Smith, and then last year he had a fantastic year. Now,
10 years later.
Right. It takes time. He's a North Dakota State dude. He might be a late bloomer. We don't know. And that's the thing. Like Jordan Love, we haven't seen this guy play. He needs to play. This isn't the best spot for him because he's not going to play. I would argue he's behind Cooper Rush.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand that Jerry Jones is new toy syndrome, and maybe this will spur Dak. I don't see where this is going because nobody's going to trade for Dak Prescott. I don't think. Not with that contract. Anybody can be moved, but I really don't think that Dak is good enough to be on the move.
Mm-hmm.
When I see teams desperate enough to say, we're a quarterback away, and Dak Prescott's that quarterback. He's not Aaron Rodgers. To your point, Dak Prescott is nowhere near Aaron Rodgers. So, I guess kudos to the Cowboys. They gave up a 4th-round pick. They gave up couch cushion change, and they got potentially, an interesting fit at 23. Maybe they can work with him. Maybe they can fix him. I don't know. But the onus is definitely on John Lynch because this is his legacy. And he'll either get to say, fuck you, I was right, or he'll fall on his sword for it. Unlike Les Snead, who kicked the can so far down the road that, his great-grandchildren aren't going to be able to see the results.
Are you in need of air care maintenance or service? I have the company for you. Air Care Technicians. They service the Westchester and Northern Bronx area and can help you with all your heating and cooling, maintenance, and service needs. Just give them a call at 914-315-1547. Again, that's 914-315-1547. Or shoot them an email at aircaretechnicians@gmail.com. These guys are the real deal as they are veteran-owned, licensed, and insured. Make sure to tell them that D&Z sent you.
Speaking of results, oh dear God. And speaking of the NFC West, another team confused about how football is played, the Arizona Cardinals. They cut veteran QB Colt McCoy over the weekend and traded for quarterback Joshua Dobbs from Cleveland. Kyler Murray's on the PUP list, at least for the first 4 weeks of the season. So that leaves you with Dobbs and Clayton Tune as the only quarterbacks on the roster.
Sounds like a Cardinal already.
That's perfect. Can he carry Tune is the question. Are the Cards tanking without saying they're tanking, showing everybody that they're tanking, or are they seriously thinking they can compete for a Super Bowl?
No, man, they're tanking. How do you? I mean, I wonder how. That's another conversation. I wonder how that went. All right, Colt. We're gonna cut you today. He's like, what?
What?
Who?
Clayton who?
Josh, listen, you've been traded to the Cardinals. I'm sorry, I've been traded where? Who?
The football equivalent of Siberia.
So those are two conversations that was like, and I'm sure on the way to Arizona, Dobbs was like, wait a minute, they just call McCoy. am I starting next weekend in an offense? I haven't even seen the playbook yet.
Bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, listen. This is the whole thing. Everybody wants this USC quarterback, right? And that's what this is all about. We're about Caleb Williams. He's so fantastic that he's going to be able to revive the Arizona Cardinals. Is that where we're at?
I don't know. To be honest with you, like that's the other thing. They paid Kyler Murray.
Yeah. And what's his deal? Is he finally just gonna go play baseball like I've been speculating for like 2 years now?
Because the A's own his rights, so fuck no.
No, think about it, right? They're going to Vegas.
God.
That could be.
He's gonna go straight to the majors. Is that your?
Yeah.
That's the prognostication.
I mean, if you're him, right? And kudos to his agent because they worked up they just stole from the Cardinals. But if you're him, you're like, well, what am I coming back for? Like, because if let's say he comes back, I think he's eligible to come back week 4, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say he sticks it out and comes back I think between 4 and 6 you have to come back. So let's say he comes back week 6, and they're 0-6. Like, do you play him? If you're him, are you like, I want to play? Like, because the thing is like for him, his incentive, right, is to play and win. Like, if you're him, you don't want them to get the number 1 pick. You don't want them to get Caleb Williams, right? But if you're the Cardinals, you don't want him to play because you clearly are trying to lose so that you do get the number 1 draft pick, right?
I'm confused by this because of the situation they have with Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Now, it's not so clear cut, right? I mean, it's week 1 in college football. Caleb Williams is already coming out saying he's undecided whether or not he will even come out.
Oh.
But that's other bullshit, you know? Like, the draft is in May. The draft is in April.
Dude, he's in Wendy's commercials. He's in Wendy's commercials. He's making money. He's making money already, man.
So is Reggie Miller and Reggie Bush.
And he's at USC, man. He's getting money. Like, he's getting paid right now.
Right. But there's also the question of Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, if you keep Kyler and you draft Marvin Harrison Jr., that changes the dynamic. Or, I mean, stranger things have happened. The Cardinals, I mean, we can guarantee at this point they're starting Joshua Dobbs and Clayton Tune. They will be getting the number 1 draft pick. Maybe you trade back and you get some offensive line help because you have DJ Humphries, Elijah Wilkinson, Froholt, Will Hernandez, the immortal Will Hernandez from the Giants. He sucks. So that's all you need to know about the offensive line. If they don't want to go with Caleb Williams, or if Caleb Williams doesn't come out, you need to have some backup plans. You cannot put all your eggs in the Caleb Williams basket, especially since you paid Kyler Murray. Like, you stupidly paid him. You stupidly hired Cliff Kingsbury. And now you're trying to undo that, right? It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. And then you look at the veterans on this team, right? Budda Baker. Budda Baker's wanted out for a few months now. Mm-hmm. He requested a trade.
I think they paid him. I think they wound up paying him.
I mean, I would listen.
But if you were Kyler Murray,
I got my money.
What do you think?
If I'm Kyler Murray, I got my money.
Do you want to play? Do you want to play this year?
Has he demonstrated that he wants to play at all? He would just rather play on Twitch.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of who he is. Now,
my whole thing is this: is like you took Kyler Murray, number 1 overall. He had some success. He wasn't a total bust. Like, he could definitely throw. I mean, he's got maturity issues, but he could definitely throw a football. And he's tiny. He's tiny, but
I believe
is Caleb Williams going to be that much better? I mean, I just remember if you remember years ago, they drafted Rosen. Remember, they drafted Josh Rosen.
They traded up for Rosen.
Traded up for him, right? So I don't really know. I don't know what the right move here is. But my whole thing is like, I think it's straight trash. I mean, you had opportunities to make this team better, and you decided not to.
I mean, how do you think the veterans feel on this team?
Right.
Like James Conner, Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz already said, "I'm not playing week 1. I'm still hurt."
Yeah.
He's like,
trade me back to the Eagles.
I'm hurt.
Trade me back to the Eagles. And that's what Zach Ertz is saying. Like read between the lines.
They're not.
They're not. To the Eagles.
I don't think they're in a not that they could win in their division, but it's going to be competitive in their division. I don't think the 49ers or the Seahawks are just going to run away with this thing. Like, there's competition. You can fight the Rams for a third spot and potentially a playoff berth. And, I'm not like you. Here's the thing: is like you could have still tanked and kept Colt McCoy on your team. That's all I'm trying to say. It's like, why
is it good enough to get you beat quarterback?
Why are you going to bring this kid in from Cleveland who's never even looked at the playbook for, never been like a number 1 guy? That's my whole thing. Is like, why would you put him in this position? And why would you do this? Like, how do you sell this to your team? Colt McCoy.
Well, that's the other thing.
Colt McCoy.
Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah.
We'll get, I'm not going to name my starter because it's a competitive advantage. Dude, you're playing the Commanders week 1. What the hell's wrong with you? Like, the Commanders are going to wreck your shit anyway, regardless of it's Dobbs or if it's Clayton Tune.
See, I would argue that they could possibly win that game. That could be one of the wins they get. Just because they're playing at home and there's no real tape on Dobbs. Like, we don't know what, and we got Sam Howell. So it's going to be a real, like, I don't know. That game has if you got a survivor pool, that's the only game I might not pick the team that's playing the Cardinals because I just don't know what that's going to look like. I have no idea what that game's going to look like.
I mean, it's going to be a mess.
It'd be different if they were playing in Washington, but
I think they are playing in Washington.
Oh, it is? I thought for some reason I thought it was so that's going to be it's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, it's going to be it's the first sellout since Daniel Snyder sold the team.
Oh, that's going to be the sixth circle of hell for them.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
It's going to, the burgundy and gold are going to be out in full effect, and Jonathan Gannon's going to wish he stayed in Philly. Step outside of your safe area and make a statement without saying much with FCK Clout Lifestyle Apparel. Embrace the colorful chaos and stay emotionally regulated in their hoodies, snapbacks, graphic tees, accessories, and more. Season 3 merch is up now. Get it while you can. Go to fckclout.com and get all of your needs from men and women. That's fckclout.com. Speaking of wishing they stayed someplace else, the Angels, they're wishing that they didn't make all of those trades that they did. Really they did. The bed shitting continues. 6 weeks after going all in, right? Acquiring Giolito, acquiring Grichuk, acquiring CJ Crone, getting Lopez.
We're going for it!
What are these? Some of these guys are furniture movers? They decided to cut bait and dump salary. They waived Giolito, they waived Matt Moore, they waived Hunter Renfroe, they waived Ronaldo Lopez, and they all got claimed. Renfroe is now a Red. Giolito, Moore, and Lopez are all Cleveland Guardians.
Who have the same record as the Angels.
But in their division, they're only 5.5 games out from behind the Twins. So they're still in this thing. And to a corresponding move, the Guardians got rid of Noah Syndergaard. We'll talk about him later. Most people are speculating this is an attempt to get a higher compensatory pick once Ohtani leaves and to reset the salary structure. They didn't make it. They're still narrowly over the threshold. Do you have any issue with the Angels waiving all these players as we enter into this so clutch pennant race time?
Huge problem with it. Because this is how the Yankees got their championships back in the day, with people waiving players or dumping salary at the end of the season, and the Yankees having the money to kind of just pick them up and put them on their team. And this is the problem I have. Is like, you built your team. If you're the Braves or the Dodgers or, even the Rays, you've built your team to withhold the 162 game season. You've made adjustments around the trade deadline. But now, as we're heading into clutch time, right, you got a team like the Angels dumping very talented players. Yes, Giolito's had a terrible time with the Angels, but he still is a starting pitcher who can get people out and can be dominant at times. Matt Moore, I don't even know. I can't believe how good Matt Moore is, because I have him on my fantasy team. Dude is just lights out, gets holds, closes innings, strikes people out. He just can't start games anymore, but out of a bullpen, like, he's legit. And Hunter Renfroe is a very, very good outfielder. And Ronaldo Lopez is another good reliever. So you take a team that's on the fringe. You take a team like the Boston Red Sox. You take a team like the Guardians, what the Guardians are doing. Oh, yeah, I'm just going to influx these players into my team, and we're going to go and try to make this playoff run. Now, if you're a team that was salary strapped, or maybe you're just heading into September and maybe you needed a boost and you didn't get the boost, now you're in trouble. So now a team that's been shit all year, right? Mm-hmm. Squadouche at the trade deadline. September 1st has just got like 3 or 4 like really good players to perk up their team or add to their team. Like, you're messing with the dynamic of the season. You're messing with the dynamics of baseball. So I think it's shit, because now, let's say for the next month, Matt Moore, Ronaldo Lopez, Hunter Renfroe, they ball out. They get their team into the playoffs. But now, the team comes back down to earth. As soon as the playoffs start, it's like, whoa, we're really not that good. We just got this influx of players that boosted us, that got us over the hump. And now we're swept in 3 games. Or, we only win 1 game. Yeah. And now you've messed with the dynamic, because a good team, like maybe the Twins, or a good team like the Rays, don't get in because you did this influx in a time when they didn't have that. They didn't have the juice. They didn't have the money. They didn't have the idea. And now you've just messed up with the dynamics of baseball, because baseball's different now, Z. Like, everybody's getting in. Like, there's more teams that are getting in. And you're just messing with the dynamic of baseball.
You are messing with the dynamic of baseball, but some of the teams, like the Rays, are in. They're the 2nd overall seed behind the Orioles. But welcome to baseball 2023. The Orioles are number 1 in the American League, and the Rays are number 2. The Twins are fighting for their lives. And again, with the waiver order, they're a victim of their success.
Right.
These guys are getting nowhere near them. Right? Think about where the Guardians traded Aaron Savali. They're like, we're done. They traded Savali to the Rays. They punted. But now, because of their weak-ass division, because the Twins are the Twins, they can make a run. And this isn't their perfect opportunity. They imported a third of a pitching rotation. All right? They imported more than a serviceable bullpen arm. Giolito's a stud in the right circumstances. Lopez is a swing guy. Lopez can be a very valuable player. How about the Reds? We criticize the Reds for not making moves, right? You bring in an impact slugger in Renfroe, and you bring in Harrison Bader, who on this team would be a good defensive replacement in the late innings. I would say that's as good as any deadline trade. Then you're looking at a team like the Brewers, who are now trying to hold off the Reds. Like, they're counterpunching by signing Josh Donaldson. I don't know how that's going to work out. But GMs have been petitioning for a secondary deadline. And I'm inclined to agree that they need a secondary deadline. Just in the past, there was a waiver deadline. If August 1st, that's fine. Like if August 1st is our new trade deadline, make August 15th your waiver claim deadline. Do something, you know? It gives you an idea of what you are and what you have done. The Angels, they took a big swing and a miss, and then they tried to kind of reset, and they swung and missed again because they're still above the luxury tax threshold, so they're still going to pay out, right? The one thing is that, like, they're now not on as much of the hook for Giolito, for Lopez, for Grichuk, for Dominic Leone. Dominic Leone also got claimed off waivers, although he was on a minor league contract when he, was acquired from the Mets. He wasn't getting paid huge amounts of money, but the Angels just foobarred everything, to the point where there needs to be a fundamental, radical shift in how business is now being done. And adding that secondary waiver deadline, I think, would do the trick. I think that would definitely help. Because this is Mickey Mouse. This is ridiculous. Trying to maneuver. And they did this with Justin Verlander a few years back when he wanted to initially go from the Tigers to the Astros. They were trying to finagle the situation so that he would get there and still be playoff eligible. So then just make a rule. That's the beauty part about this. You can just make a rule and you can fix all of this. Do these moves take the Guardians over the top? I don't know. I really don't know. Giolito is going to be better just because he's going to be better. I mean, he can't be as bad as he was. So, Lopez has always been kind of hit or miss. I love the Matt Moore move. We're going to see what's going to happen here, especially as it goes down the stretch. This is going to be interesting. Currently, the Guardians are facing the Rays. Then they're taking on the Twins. They're going to San Francisco to play the Giants. They're going to play the Rangers. They can have a significant impact on the playoffs, even if they don't get in. Right? This 4th, 5th, and 6th of September. This is going to be a huge series, because if they can sweep the Twins, all of a sudden, I'm not so sure. We might have a race on our hands. And it absolutely, I agree, like, it's all due to the Angels. The Angels have their sticky fingerprints all over this playoff because of what they just did.
Avoid messy accidents. Get better stopping power with your brake pads. Callahan brake pads. You never know when you'll be driving in the road and there will be a truck tire that you need to avoid and save your family. Callahan Auto. We really care about what's under your hood.
Rather than waiver wires, let's talk about some white flags. The New York Yankees waved their white flag, calling up all their kids. They called up Wells, who looks like Ted Lasso. It's amazing. They called up the Martian, Jason Dominguez. They called up Peraza. The kids are all right. The kids are all here, like Yankee fans have been clamoring for. At least the Yankee fans on X have been clamoring for. And Jason Dominguez delivered his first at bat, his first swing in the major leagues. Oppo Taco home run off of Justin Verlander. So, brand name. Is this the sign of what's to come for the Yankees?
Oh, it's tough to say, right? I mean, you almost say, why didn't you bring him up sooner, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't going to use them. Now they're not out of it. They still have a chance. So I think it's good. And Volpe, like you said, is going to be you said this in the production meeting, first 2020 guy for the New York Yankees is a rookie ever. That's crazy. That's a crazy stat.
They had to have not been keeping statistics. That's the only thing I can think of.
I think he needs to be moved to second base. I don't think he's a shortstop. But listen, hey, cautionary tale. If we all remember when Gary Sanchez got called up once a moon ago, he was dynamite. And now Gary's unemployed. So I don't know. I mean, they needed this power. They needed this to come up. They needed to see what they have. They need the players. They need something. It's just a little ridiculous that it took this long to happen. So I mean, I think he's going to have an impact. I'm not sure if they're all worth what Brian has passed up on over the years. That's the other thing I'm not sure of, and we won't ever find that out for quite some time. But I'm glad they're up. Wish them well. Maybe you can come in third.
Okay. I mean, I can interest you in these three names. Gary Sanchez, you mentioned. Kevin Moss. Shane Spencer. Only one of them had carved out a decent career for himself.
Yeah.
Shane Spencer.
Yeah.
Now, what do they all have in common? Late season call-ups and just mashed. So hold, please. Have some pause. This has happened before in Yankee history. It's happened before in baseball history. And right now, Jason Dominguez is the second player in history to his first major league home run on his first swing off a Cy Young Hall of Famer. That would be Marcus Timms when he hit his grand slam off of Randy Johnson. You got all that? It reminds me of Little Big League with that ridiculous statistic. he's 2 for 7. He's 2 for 17 on odd days during day games at home
in a dome.
So let's have some pause here and let the kid get his feet wet underneath him. He went 1 for 4. So take that for what it's worth. It's a good moment. It's an awesome moment. His parents were there. His feet probably finally touched the ground. But what this projects to be long-term remains to be seen. It's 4 at-bats. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Now, the good thing is the Yankees won. The Yankees need wins. That's what needs to happen. The Yankees need to win. And if that's what's going to happen, if this is what's going to spur that on, then awesome. If the youth movement, if the Yankees are going to invest in that youth movement, and it's going to be like, we're too young and we're too dumb to know any better, like, this could be a very exciting month of baseball in the Bronx. There are no expectations, right? They're not going to...
Oh, I don't know about that one. I don't know if there's no expectations. I think there are, actually. I think some Bronx and Yankee fans are delusional in thinking that, that this is going to be their ticket and this is going to get them into the playoffs.
You said the word is correct. Delusional. None of those guys can pitch. None of those guys can pitch. So, as good as these guys may have been in AAA, and Esteban Florial's still down there. Like your team leader in home runs, team leader in average. I think he's their Triple Crown leader. Dude's still in AAA. So you need pitching. Rodon's not good. Severino, he's been better, but still, I don't trust him. Cole is cold. And now the bullpen is leaking. Clark Schmidt is
The bullpen is leaking.
I don't know. Like, players, they're overused and they're done. Like, I mean, we're getting excited about Clark Schmidt. I'm not a Clark Schmidt guy. He's okay. He's decent. That's all I got. Temper your expectations, folks. Please. Like, for your own sake. And if these kids, and they are kids, I think the oldest one is 24, if they don't deliver right away, are we going to get they're horse shit, we got to get rid of them? It's overreaction both directions. Oh, this is going to save our season. All their horse shit, get rid of them. Package them all. To get who? It just seems a little unrealistic. Let the kid have his moment. That's awesome. Congratulations. Welcome to the show. And kind of temper your expectations. Because if these kids are good, they're going to be around for a long time. So enjoy what you have while you have it, because it may not be around forever. Enjoy this moment now and kind of see where the blossoming took place. You can say, I was there, right? If these guys are now the Fab Five instead of the Core Four, which I still don't understand how Bernie Williams gets gypped on the Core Four, but you could be in on the ground level of something big, or you could just be in another footnote. That's the beauty of history. We don't know. We're living it. So experience it. History's pretty cool.
If you want to get in on the action, we want to hear from you. Hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com. Slide in our DMs on IG @FadeRoutePodcast. Drop us a DM on Twitter @FadeRouteDNZ. Comment on our YouTube channel, The Fade Route with DNZ. Questions, comments, picks, segment suggestions, you name it, we want to hear from you. Get at us, in crowd. More or less?
All right, boys and girls, we have a phrase, and it's either more likely or less likely that it's going to happen. More or less, number one, Anthony Richardson will lead the league in picks.
Oh, man. God, I hope not. I hope not, because he's my fantasy quarterback.
I figured that's why that question was there. I figured there was some fantasy tie-in.
All right, so I'm gonna say more likely, because the only other person I can see throwing more than him is Stroud, right? I just don't know if Stroud's gonna last the whole season.
You mean of rookies, or do you mean the entire league?
The entire league.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, but
yeah, I do. I mean, I just think I don't think there's anybody else that's going to be really throwing more picks than him. He had an accuracy problem in college, and even this preseason, he's had some accuracy problems. He's thrown several interceptions. So, yeah, I don't know if there's anybody outside of Stroud, and maybe whoever relieved. No, it's because Jordan Love has looked great. I mean, because I'm thinking about rookie guys or young guys. I'm thinking about guys that have been in the league less than 5 years. I don't think anybody that's been in the league more than 5 years is going to lead the league in interceptions. So, yeah, I'm going to say more likely.
I'm going less likely. And do you know who led the league in picks last year?
No, actually, I don't think I do.
Dak Prescott.
Whoa, what are you, like 13?
15.
15, yeah.
So, it's always a question of accuracy, right? You're absolutely right. Accuracy is an issue, but also aggression.
Yeah.
If you play with an aggressiveness, you're more likely to turn the ball over. So you had Prescott and Mills tied at the top. Davis Mills tied at the top in picks.
That guy.
So you have your side of the argument is validated, right? Young guy, accuracy issues. But then underneath, next tier, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Josh Allen. So scheme plays into this. A more aggressive downfield scheme and a more willingness to try and make plays means you're more prone to make mistakes. So I'm going to go less likely that Anthony Richardson will lead the league in picks because you still have these veterans who are making mistakes, right? You still have these veterans who are still too aggressive. So he'll be up there. I mean, he'll be double digits. I'm going to say 10, but
Wow, you got him only throwing 10?
yeah. You know who else threw 10? Justin Herbert. So I got him.
And he got hurt last year. And he's
right. But, surprisingly.
Oh, I hope you're right. I love it. Great.
Yeah. I think that he'll definitely be double-digit picks, but also in the low teens in terms of touchdowns.
Yeah. Oh, low teens.
Low teens. So 13, 14, somewhere in there. So the ratio is not going to look good, but he's not going to throw enough picks to lead the league.
Will he have more touchdowns or more interceptions?
More touchdowns, barely.
Okay.
Zay Flowers, more likely or less likely? Zay Flowers will win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Man, that's tough. Just because there's a lot of talent this year. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to go more likely. I'm going to be bold on this one. More likely, he's going to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. They had Garrett Wilson won last year.
Mm-hmm.
He can win this year.
So I'm going more likely as well. I think all the quarterbacks cancel each other out. I don't think anybody's going to be a stud enough to, cement them.
What about Bijan?
That's the thing. It's a 50-50.
That's the guy.
There's a guy.
Quentin Johnson too. Quentin Johnson's good. Jordan Addison. There's a couple of guys, but
in terms of standout prospects,
yeah.
I mean Addison maybe, but I'm going to wipe out all the quarterbacks because I don't think the quarterbacks are going to be good enough to be up there. To me, it's a 2-horse race. Zay Flowers and Bijan Robinson. Because both of those guys are going to be featured in their system. Lamar Jackson is going to love working with Zay Flowers. And then Bijan Robinson, he's going to get a lot of burn because Desmond Ritter's his quarterback. You're going to need to kind of offset that. So Bijan Robinson is definitely going to be a viable contender for this Rookie of the Year title. But it's more likely. It's a 50-50 shot as far as I'm concerned. Because the reason why I discount Addison is because he's got a guy named Justin Jefferson on his team. But Garrett Wilson was the feature wideout last year on the Jets. He didn't have anybody playing off him the way that Addison has with Justin Jefferson. And even Jackson Smith, right? Jackson Smith-Najiba. DK Metcalf's on the other side of the ball. So you need opportunity. And I think these guys are going to have the best opportunity. More or less, number 3. Zeke Elliott will finish with more touchdowns than Ramondre Stevenson.
I'm going more likely because I think he's going to be the goal. I think he's going to be the goal line back. And I think Ramondre will get hurt. And Zeke is going to eat, man. I think they're going to give him the ball. So I'm going more. We're in agreement. I'm going to go more likely. I mean, he had 12 TDs last year. Yeah, people sleep on this guy.
He had 12, right? 231 rushes for 876, 12 TDs. I can interest you in that. I think that it's important to realize that he's going to be revitalized in this system because he's not going to be relied upon that much. 231 rushes, he's not going to touch 230, under 120 rushes for him next year. He's not going to be that guy. So Ramondre Stevenson only had 210 rushes last year, 5 touchdowns. So Damian Harris isn't there anymore. So the idea is that Stevenson will pick up that slack. Even when Harris was there, Stevenson wasn't the touchdown guy. Harris was. So I think that you're looking at it's more likely going to be the case. Now, what are you looking for? Are you expecting double digits from Zeke? Or are you expecting high singles? What do you think? What would be the number that Zeke comes in at for touchdowns this year?
8. I think 8. 8 to 10. I think he has 8 to 10. And I think Ramondre will get 6.
That sounds about right. I think so. Because at this point in time, Belichick needs to prove that Mac Jones is a quarterback, right? And how you're going to do that? You're going to have to feature him, right? And even Damian Harris only had 3 touchdowns last year. Just a nice little, just a little insight into that. 106 rushes for 462 and 3 touchdowns. They're not. The Patriots aren't featuring the run as much as they used to. But I'm thinking for Zeke, 9, maybe 4 for Stevenson, and then kind of go from there. But Zeke definitely is going to eat, and Zeke is definitely going to come out on top in this backfield.
You can't help but smile when you see a balloon. The simplest occasion is a party. Westchester Pop Stars, located in New Rochelle, New York, offers balloon styling and decor for all life's events. Birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, showers, school and corporate events, store openings, or just because. Westchester Pop Stars takes balloons and shapes them into works of art, creating decorative installations for your special occasions. No event is too big or too small, and their custom personalization service is top-notch. Westchester Pop Stars is a private studio, quickly expanding. In-person consultation is by appointment only. Send an email to westchesterpopstars@gmail.com for more information or to schedule an appointment. No need to hire an event stylist. All you need is balloons. Currently servicing Westchester, Putnam, New York City, and Connecticut. To find Westchester Pop Stars, search for them on Instagram, Facebook, or Google.
The Fade Store presents the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award.
All right, you know what time it is. It's time for the Alleged Superstar of the Week. We put up a poll on our X account at FadeRouteDNZ, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote. And the winner of said vote gets the coveted ass trophy and a shout out on this here show. Do you know who took home the coveted ass trophy last week, Dean?
No.
Wander Franco.
Oh, jeez.
Well deserved. That guy's a piece of crap. There are reports that a secondary investigation has been launched with another underage girl.
Eesh.
Yeah. So, vaya con Dios, you're done. You know, Major League Baseball has moved on. Taylor Walls has now kind of taken that job, and now we await justice. But that was last week. This is this week. Who are your nominees for Alleged Superstar of the Week, D?
All right, first up, I've got your friend John Lynch. We spoke about early in the show. You traded a king's ransom for a kid that only played a handful of D2 college football games. Then you sent him for a 4th-round pick. Sent him away for a 4th-round pick, and you're rolling with the guy you took with the last pick in the draft. You, my friend, don't know what you're doing. You don't know football. John Lynch, you're my Alleged Superstar of the Week. Number 2, the Arizona Cardinals. Cutting Colt McCoy a week before the season starts. Huge white flag to your fan base, the entire league. We understand Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watt, and James Connors were mistakes, but you owe it to the league to compete at a high level. Dobbs at starting quarterback, not a strategy for winning, dude. Arizona Cardinals, you are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. And number 3, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Waiving talent in the hopes of getting a good compensatory pick for Ohtani's Bush League, brah. You're messing with the fabric of baseball by infusing good players into a waiver pool as rosters are increased during September call-ups. Now teams that are set will need to compete with teams that are on the fringe that will, plug your talent into their team. Straight trash, homie. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, you are my Alleged Superstars of the Week. What do you got, Z?
All great choices. All fantastic choices. I'm going to start with Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon, what can we say about you? stating that you're not going to name a starting quarterback because of, quote, a competitive advantage. Dude, you ain't competing. Look at your roster. Look at your depth chart. You're not competing. Jonathan Gannon, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Somebody get him on the memo. Get him on the email chain. Like, just so he knows, like, dude, like, Operation Tank Job is in full effect. Number 2, the New York Yankees. Owner Hal Steinbrenner saying that he's going to have an outside firm evaluate the team, particularly their analytics department. So you're going to have an analysis of the analytics department, and we're going to have all this analysis and analyze this. Get good players. Get a competent manager, and get a GM that can do the job. Cashman inherited the team from Bob Watson and Gene Michael. The framework was already there. And since it has been a steady decline to where it is now. There you go. Analysis done. Checks in the mail, right, Hal? New York Yankees, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Twelve are now the Pac-2. And the only people that are left are Oregon State and Washington State. Stanford's out. Cal is out. They're all going to ACC, which the Atlantic Coast count. That's another thing that geographically is breaking my brain, right? The Atlantic Coast Conference. Welcome Cal and welcome California. The death at the Pac-12 is imminent. Pac-12 or Pac-2. We'll call it Pac-2 or 2-Pac. No, Pac-2. You are my alleged superstar of the week. I think we've said our piece. Go to our X account at FadeRouteDNZ and vote. And vote, and vote, and vote. And for our nominee.
Just do better, boys. Just do better. Your favorite podcast has its own merch line now. Go to the Fade store with DNZ.com today for all your Fade Route merch needs. I'm talking tank tops, t-shirts, sweatshirts, like yoga pants, we got those too. Like some cool accessories, we got those too. And we're not done yet. We have so much more planned for you, but check out what we have today at the Fade store with DNZ.com. That's the Fade store with DNZ.com. Order up!
It is time to continue our division by division breakdown as we order up.
Order up, order up.
This week, we are ordering up the AFC East. Is it going to be the AFC Beast or is it going to be the AFC Least? Let's find out. From 4 to 1, who you got, D?
Man, this you could spin this division anyway, and I really just wouldn't be surprised. There's just so much happening with each team, and I do think it's highly competitive. It's not the least. Everybody's fairly good. It's kind of crazy, but I'm going to start with the Patriots. I just don't see enough talent on this roster to compete with all the other teams. So I'm picking them at 4. At number 3, surprise, surprise. I actually have the Buffalo Bills. I have a feeling they'll have a step back this year. They seemed committed to Allen not being leading rusher, which is good this year. So we'll just see how that holds up. But Diggs is holdout. It has me skeptical. There seemed to be some friction there, some questions about the direction of the offense. So and they open up against the Jets. We'll see what happens. Number 2 is the Dolphins. I just think they're set to put up points. Like Hill, Waddle, Tua, as long as Tua is healthy, they're just going to score. It pains me to say this, but number 1, I've got COVID. Got New York Jets. They just talk so much shit. I can't imagine the disaster this will be if they do not win, if they fail. Like, that's the whole thing. It's like they've talked so much. I can't imagine what the backlash will be if they fail. So they have to succeed, right? Rodgers needs to win the MVP. Saleh needs to be the coach of the year. They need to get to the AFC Championship game. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. What do you think, Z?
This is the division that gets 3 playoff teams.
Yeah.
That's what, last year was the NFC East. This year's the AFC East. I think we're in agreement that the Patriots are not going to be one of those teams.
Yeah.
I don't know about Mac Jones. Like, that is the question mark. Juju, competent. Devontae Parker, competent. Kendrick Bourne, competent. Hunter Henry. Gesicki is also here.
Yeah.
You also took away from the Dolphins, right? So there's players. There are players. You need a quarterback. You don't have one. And it pains me to say that because I was very high on Mac Jones coming out of Alabama. Patriots easily in 4th place. Now, 3rd place, this may be a surprise for you. Jets, Jets. Like you said, talked all that shit. Talked all that mess. The lights are on bright. You're going to get the best shot every week.
Yeah.
Teams are going to circle you on their schedule. They want a piece of you, and they're going to get the best. Now, we saw what the Packers did, right? And you just imported a bunch of Packers offense. Maybe early in the season, they'll show flashes of what could be. But down the line, as the season progresses, what's that going to be? I don't know. But you're getting everybody's best shot. You're the darlings of the league. You brought in Aaron Rodgers. The spotlight is on. And historically, when the spotlight is on the Jets, that's when they melt. So, 3rd place. But still good enough. I'm going to say 10 wins. 10, 11 wins. 2nd place, the Dolphins. Now, this is a big gamble, right? This is a big gamble, provided that Tua is upright, right? He's taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's learning how to fall so that he doesn't, knock his head, so he doesn't get any more concussions.
Yeah, my 3-year-old's in the same class.
You have to, apparently they have to baby-proof the line. But this team is built, right? Mostert, Hill, Waddle, Cedric Wilson is not bad, right? You have Tyler. You brought in Tyler Kroft to replace Gesicki. Okay, so you brought in some guys. Right? Now, you brought in Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey's not going to be there for the foreseeable future, right? He's on IR. We'll see what's going to happen when he comes back. But this team is ready. Like, if not now, when? If not now, probably never. Now, if they have to make the change, if Tua gets hurt, Mike White is a pretty good backup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he'll still get some games. Like, we saw the flashes of what
he's
Mike
gonna
White can be.
He's going to beat the Jets this year. Oh, it's going to happen. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You heard it here first. We called it. That's, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, Mike White is a more than capable backup. And you also have Skylar Thompson. You have players that now have seasoning. You had Teddy, but Teddy was another health issue. So, quarterback, still a problem, but more talented options for sure. Number 1, I still have the Buffalo Bills. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And these guys haven't beaten the man yet. So, you added James Cook. You have Latavius Murray and Damian Harris. You have a legit run game now. And you know what? Stephon Diggs, yeah, I get it. You're not going to be the focal point of this offense anymore. Josh Allen's not going to be the focal point with his legs. That might be the step backwards that you need to move forwards. If the team is winning, are you going to complain that you're not getting as many targets? I hope not, because that's a really bad look. The defense, it's ready. Like, Von Miller is out, but you have Leonard Floyd. Plug him in. Shaq Lawson behind him. The inspirational return of DeMar Hamlin. Like, that is going to be, that's big. Like, is Micah Hyde going to make it through the season healthy? I hope so. He's critical. Jordan Poyer, critical. If the defense stays healthy and produces, this team could be very easily division champion. And it's one of the small handful that could match up with the Chiefs. I'm not saying beat the Chiefs, I'm saying match up with the Chiefs. But this division is going to be very competitive. It's going to be a brawl all year. And I think the Bills narrowly come out on top.
This has been the Fade Route with D&Z. Thanks for tuning in. Catch our podcast on Wednesday nights on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. So until next time, stay faded, everyone.
Time for us to run the go route, but we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you like what you heard and want to hear more, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Rate us 5 stars, leave us a review, turn on subscription notifications, and tell your friends. Spread the word, spread it wide.